Hey friends, today on Gardening with Creekside, we are going to give you an update on Mimi's Monarch Way Station. Y'all, it is covered in monarch caterpillars. Cannot wait to show that to you. But first, still kind of in the same lines, we are at Mimi's garden, and behind me she has a beautiful dill plant. This dill is also covered in butterfly caterpillars. However, this is going to be the black swallowtail. 'Tis the season, 'tis that time of year where our butterflies are laying their eggs, especially for us here where we are. We get the southern migration of the monarchs. And so that's why we're going to be looking at those plants. But what you see before you is a very large, very mature dill plant, right? Dill, the herb, the one that we eat, we use in our culinary dishes and everything else. It is also the host plant for your black swallowtails. And y'all, this plant is covered. So I'm gonna move this pine needle out of the way, but can you see this gorgeous beauty? And she is fat. So your dill, your parsley, your carrots, they are going to be the host plants for these beautiful, voracious caterpillars that will turn into the black swallowtail. So they are not going to kill the plant, they are simply going to eat it all up. I personally like to have parsley, and so you can see just they are so bright, right? So all those little bright lime green bodies, I mean, my gosh, y'all, this one in here is huge. Hopefully, I don't know if the camera is picking up on that big, fat, juicy baby. So the reason that these are so important, right, is because we all adore our butterflies. And because of people using pesticides or just whatever, you know, not planting very many host plants, sometimes these are in short supply. So if you can go out there, look at this one, he is chomping down. If you can plant some parsley or some dill or some carrots, it would be great because these little babies need this. They have massive appetites and they have to have a food source in order to go ahead and grow and develop and get nice and fat and sassy. And then they will go ahead and form their chrysalis, their little cocoons, right? And then they hatch. So I wanted to show you this dill first because my gosh, y'all, they are just all over this plant. I'm trying to not step on Mimi's plants here. But if you see a caterpillar on a plant, don't automatically think it's a bad bug, right? And I use that word bad, if it's a bad bug. So a great thing, especially if you have an iPhone, is you can take a picture of anything, where it could be a plant. I mean, literally it can be anything. I will use it a lot times for the bugs. And so I did it with the caterpillars just to show you kind of how it works. And you hit the little eye at the bottom that's in a circle, and it will tell you what it is. So it came up and it said the black swallowtail. So before you decide, do we keep or do we go ahead and figure out what it is first, right? Because maybe there are some caterpillars that it's okay that they completely chew up our plants because then they turn into these gorgeous butterflies. Or maybe it's something that you certainly don't want, and at that time then you can use the appropriate steps. So black swallowtails love the dill, the parsley, the carrots, and I think there was something else. So if you see these really bright green with those stripes on it, it's gonna be a black swallowtail. Now let's hop down and look at the monarchs. There's so many and look completely different. So here we are at Mimi's Monarch Way Station. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, we visited this spot because this is a brand new garden for Mimi. She just started it late this summer, and her goal was to turn it into a Monarch Way Station. Basically what that is a designated garden that attracts monarch butterflies, provides food for them, and provides host plants for them so that they can lay their eggs and multiply, which is of course what we want. Monarchs are very interesting in the fact of that they migrate. So they migrate to and from Mexico every year. Where we are in North Carolina, I don't see monarchs until this time of year. So that means that we are on that southern migration. So they're on their way back to Mexico. These ones that will hatch will return to Mexico this winter, fall, winter. And then in the spring, then they will begin coming back up. So there's multiple generations of monarchs. There is so much information. And by no means am I an expert in any kind in monarchs, but they are extremely unique and special butterflies that they are, I don't know if they're on the endangered list or not, but they definitely, they need all the help that they can get. So Mimi created this spot that she has loved this spot because it is really her only true full sun garden. She of course lives in the dry shade. So she's so funny. We all the employees kind of lovingly joke with Mimi that she says, "Oh, I'm done." Well, no, she's not. It started very simply up here and then it had expanded up. And it has expanded even more since we were last here in the garden all the way down. So in her Monarch Way Station, she has a whole plethora of plants that will attract the butterflies. She has both annuals, she has perennials that will bring these babies in. So like you have like the sun-credible sunflower, right? So she's got that. She's got asters. She has like the Joe Pieweed. I believe this is Little Joe here. And then coming on down here, she's got Baby Joe. Don't have any caterpillars on those plants. She's got some of the classic, this is the classic milkweed right here, butterfly weed. And you can see this is what they do this time of year. Those little floofs, those are the seeds. So this is a great host plant for those monarchs. None on this one. So let's go on up here. It's kind of funny because the ones that actually look, quote, the worst are the ones covered in the caterpillars. And you will see that they look completely different than, of course, the swallowtails. I mean, that should be obvious because they're a completely different a butterfly, and the butterflies look completely different, but there you go. So your monarchs are going to have not as big of a striation on them, and they've got little antennas, and you can see they are chomping. There's a little baby, and there's like a medium teenager. Those big long antenna on both ends of them. So there you go on that. And you can see, look how sad this plant is, right? I mean, they have absolutely stripped it. If they strip this plant, no problem. What they'll do is they'll just go down, they'll crawl over, and then come to this guy that has a lot more foliage on it. So they will absolutely move back and forth to different plants. Then we have, and of course the wind is blowing here. Look at that. Isn't that great? There's a big fat one right here. Look at this guy. Oh my gosh, big, beautiful. Mimi, so excited about her monarchs. Of course, there's one right here. Then we've got one right here. So the plants are absolutely covered. It's interesting though to see which ones that they prefer to go to. Here we have, oh nope, there's two on this one. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So incredibly pretty. So I am not even going to try to pronounce exactly. This is what Mimi has as her little tags right here. So this is Sonolta. So that Asclepias Augustiflora folia sonalta. And so there you go. This came from Plant Delights. So mail order, great mail order perennial company here actually in North Carolina. So that is what those are. You can see that they have the beautiful white flowers on that, okay? Now, she has also in here plants that will feed them, right? So once the butterflies actually hatch and they are butterflies, then she has plants in here that they can then feed on. So the Mexican sunflower, right? Tithonia. So here we go. They love this plant, those bright orange flowers. They will feed on this as a butterfly, not as the caterpillar. So the milkweed is the only plant that they will use as a host plant. So here we have, this is, oh, that's so fun. So Cece, our Cece, gave Mimi some, it's called Cece's Mellow Yellow Milkweed. Y'all, look. Is that not ginormous? Cece is gonna be so excited. I don't know if she has seen this. So you've got one there, and then look at that. So you can see that the milkweed completely different, right? Big, huge leaves compared to the previous one that was the really skinny leaves. So little man right here is super, super happy. You will notice that Mimi has tons of zinnias in here. Zinnias, of course, are another great food source for the butterflies once they hatch. And then here she has, this is the milkweed that's called hairy balls. Y'all, look at that. It's funny, they don't really mind you coming up, but they kind of are like pausing, trying to figure you out. So this one's called hairy balls because it does the little like little balloon flowers on it, and then they open up to the little white flowers. Nice and tall, so you can see that Mimi has staked this so it's nice and supported. So you can see, like I said, tons of zinnias in here. It is, quote, relatively kind of early in the morning, so the butterflies are not super active right now, but this is what is important to feed those butterflies once they, whether it's a monarch or whether it is a swallowtail or it doesn't matter. They all love them. Here we go. Nice, big, beautiful. There is so much information about monarchs, and you can learn more about it, you know, doing due diligence and doing your research. But if you ever see a monarch and she has a little sticker on her or him, then that is, so there's a whole movement, right, to protect the monarchs, to help the monarchs, to help repopulate the monarchs. And so what they do is, like, if somebody, let's say Mimi could do it, or Cece could do it, or whoever is doing it, you can actually apply to get those tracking numbers. And so when you have your monarch caterpillars and they start to form their chrysalis, a lot of times people will like put it in a protective butterfly cage, so that way they have them, and then of course they take care of them and they help them. But once they open up, you can put that sticker on the butterfly and it tracks it. So it's like a serial number for that butterfly. So no matter where it goes in the world, somebody can go in there, type in that number and track that monarch. So this helps with migration, just the science of it, and studying them and understanding their patterns and where they go. So if you ever see a monarch with a sticker on it, leave it alone. It's supposed to be there. Don't try to take it off. Just leave it there. But Mimi is absolutely beside herself with excitement with how well this garden is doing. And so many of you sweet viewers out there, after we did the initial tour of this and introduced this to you, y'all were so sweet and you sent seeds. Most of you sent seeds, whether it was zinnia seeds. Had a sweet couple come to the nursery and they're like, here's a present for Mimi. And it was zinnia seeds from their garden, milkweed seeds, all sorts of great things. So she was just kind of blown away with how sweet and precious y'all were and helping her support her Monarch Way Station. So she is super excited with how well this is doing. Now, if you are local and you want to support whether it's monarchs or the butterfly population in general, we have got some plants currently at the nursery available that you can go ahead and plant in your garden like right now and get them going to help support the monarchs and the other butterflies. So currently we have three butterfly weeds here. And so again, the butterfly weed, these three that are the ones that we have, this is the only host plant that the monarchs will go to. This is the only plant, that butterfly weed, that they will lay their eggs on, they will eat, and then go forth. So if you want to have monarch caterpillars, you've got to have that butterfly weed in there. So we have the Hello Yellow, right? So this is the Hello Yellow. And notice all of the leaves are completely different. So Hello Yellow, then we have the Incarnata. So a nice big wider leaf, and then just the good old classic tuberosa. So this is the one that you will see, you know, growing wild here. And so we've got these 3 available for you. Basically, they're all in 1-gallon containers. So we have got those 3. Now, if you just want to plant something that gives us beautiful flowers and is going to feed the butterflies, then a couple of choices. Well, we have a lot of choices for you, but so echinacea is going to be a great one. The butterflies are absolutely drawn to echinacea, and you can see with that, like this is the color coded, the fuchsia is bright, big, huge fuchsia flowers that the butterflies find irresistible. So they will come and they will feed on these flowers. Here we have like the sombrero adobe orange, big, bold, bright orange flowers. Again, absolutely irresistible to those butterflies. So they will come and feed right here on top of the plant and the flowers. And so what you can do also is after the flowers are done, leave it. Then your birds will come and eat the dried seed heads. So you can leave those. So the echinacea is great, rudbeckia is great, your black-eyed Susans, they love that as well. And then the lantana. So we have, of course, there's lots of annual lantanas, but also the perennial lantana. So this is Miss Huff. And Miss Huff is the one that's reliably a perennial for me. It gets nice and big, but has those big, nice, bright yellow and orange flowers on it, and will be covered, and so your butterflies will come and feed on this plant as well. So there is a difference. You know, you're trying to think of the milkweed is for your host plant, that is for the caterpillars, that's what they eat, that is their food source as a caterpillar. And then once they hatch as a butterfly, then that's when they go to the echinacea, the rudbeckia, the zinnias, the cosmos, the Mexican sunflower, all of those beautiful things. So you kind of have to plant those plants, that the flowering plants that the butterflies love, and then in conjunction with your butterfly weed, so that the monarchs are attracted because they see the food source, and then they're like, oh, well, here's my host plant. Let me lay some eggs and have some babies right here. So anyway, I hope this has been fun. I know that for all of us here, especially Mimi, that it has been quite exciting to see all of these caterpillars, just so many of the, not only the monarchs, but the swallowtails as well. So, you know, if we all do just a little part, then it would be huge. Imagine if Mimi hadn't planted this garden. Imagine how many monarchs would not have a place to call home and grow up in the nursery setting. It's so exciting. So, and that's the great thing too about doing that Monarch Way Station. You don't have to wait a long time. Like you know, you see results pretty quickly, just like Mimi. So a lot of fun, and of course we'll keep you updated on this area because you know Mimi, she's gonna keep developing it. As always, we hope you found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.